Hello, you guys. So this is Mareka from Spirit Source Pentacle. I hope you guys are having an absolutely fantabulous day today. So what I wanted to talk about today is something that might seem a little abstract, but I guarantee you it will make massive changes in your life. It's about the power of self-permission for you to get power and make lasting change in your life. So by self-permission, most people would interpret it as self-validation or internal validation, but that's not actually what I mean in this time. I mean self-permission. And the reason why I say self-permission is because the human brain, as well as the spiritual psyche that's in 3D reality, is actually about consistency. A lot of people don't realize this, but the expansive creative power of the universe is within you. So if you had all that power, you would just pop out of this reality. Like, it wouldn't work. So you have a part of you that is about being consistent. And that's particularly important regarding your identity. Even Tony Robbins has said this. Humans have a consistent habit of always staying in congruency with who they think they are. And that's the foundation of this video. And I'm at the end going to give you a visualization that can help you kind of give yourself permission to have that creative force in your life, so you can identify your internal power and you can make change and disidentify from the things that you believe are holding you back. So we're going to talk about more why is that important, but I just want to give a little bit more explanation so that it doesn't sound confusing. So what I mean by disidentify is meaning that your thoughts are not you, your feelings are not you. Your actions, that's the gray area, but for right now we're talking about inner thoughts and feelings. Those are not you. And we're going to get to that in a second. So let's go. So what does it mean to have self-permission, to give yourself self-permission and help you make change and things like that? It means you don't take other people's actions personally, and you don't take what happens in your external world personally. I'm not saying that you should become a stone and not care, but I'm saying that you shouldn't take it personally. Because if we were honestly to think about a lot of the things that people do to us and say to us, and we think about the way they reacted to it, we reacted to it, we would often be like, nah, maybe that wasn't the right one, or maybe it had nothing to do with me, or maybe I shouldn't have internalized whatever they were feeling. This happens a lot with empathic people. As someone who is empathic, I completely understand. You put barriers on yourself when you're very young, so that when other people do things to you, you don't allow yourself to react. I'm not saying that you should do impulsive crazy stuff, but you should allow yourself to feel things. But with self-permission, when you don't do that, that puts you in a victim subconscious mindset. The victim subconscious mindset is basically the framework for self-permission in a bad way, in a negative polarity. So self-permission is something that happens naturally, but it can spin into a bad direction. So, like I said, self-permission in a good way can help you not take other people's actions personally. Second thing is, self-permission means you can co-create a life that is empowering instead of disempowering. The self-permission feature is interlocked with the idea of paradigm. If you're into a lot of Rob Proctor stuff, he talks about paradigm. Basically, to simplify it, it's like a universe view. Like you within the universe and the universe with you. It's that type of view. And what I mean by the universe, I don't just mean the cosmos. I mean your literal life. I mean society. I mean family. I mean ideas, values, morals. There are a lot of things in there that are sometimes conflicting. And because they're conflicting, you end up making an experience that you hate. So many people are living lives that they hate, and they don't know why. The reason is because they shut themselves down, and it's not their fault completely. I mean, they still had a choice, but it's not their fault completely, especially with life circumstances. People are taught to shut themselves down very early, so that self-permissive factor spins into a negative polarity, so they end up creating a life they hate over and over, and doing things they hate over and over, and meeting people they hate over and over again. So the third reason why you need to give yourself self-permission in order for you to make change is that you will be able to feel whole. I was doing a session for a lady today, and she was an intuitive artist, and she was so talented, and everyone loved her work and everything. But she came to me. She said, "I still don't feel whole." She said, "All these people are congratulating me and telling me all these things, but I still don't feel whole." And that's because she never gave herself the self-permission to feel that way. Like she was getting better, but she was coming out of a polarity where the self-permission was towards like restriction instead of expansion. Now, I'm going to do a separate video on that. I don't want to get too much into that right now, but that's what I wanted to say, because self-permission, I said negative polarity, but the positive polarity is expansion. We're going to talk about that in another video. Comment below if you do want to see that video, because I'd love to make it. Okay, so why is it the power of self-permission so important? What it can do for your life even further? Because I kind of talked about what it is, but here's why it's so important. Because a lot of people give you instructions on you should do this and you should do that, but they don't really take it personal. So let's bring it down personal and tell you why you need to work on self-permission. Because you'll be able to see life for what it is and not within the framework of the past. This is a powerful one for people that have been in really bad relationships. And I don't just mean partner, like sexual romantic relationships. I mean friendships. Like you just remember, for an example, you remember a friend that just betrayed the fuck out of you, and it just completely changed your entire idea around friends. And even when good people come to you, you're like, I remember what happened last time. Why? Because your psyche is so scarred that you've like limited yourself to where you're like, I can't think about people doing good things for me. I can't think about people being my friend. So self-permission will help you be able to see things for what they are instead of just like reliving your past every day. Second reason why self-permission is so powerful and can change your life is that you will be able to be productive and do things you actually want to do and build vibrational momentum. So here I do like to keep it a little grounded. I'm a very, very spiritual person, and as you all get through my content and stuff, you'll see how spiritual I am and with the different things like that. I don't like to get too esoteric at first because it does scare some people, but this idea of self-permission, if it's spun into a good polarity, can help you build vibrational momentum. If you're someone that's super into manifesting, and you, or Abraham Hicks and stuff like that, talks about it, vibrational momentum, which is where you do good things and you feel good and you just get the ball rolling and it just stays rolling. Self-permission is how you do that. You have to give yourself the idea that you can change, like I said, you can disassociate. I don't want to get too much because I'm a very philosophical person, so I'm not going to get too deep in it. But basically, self-permission will help you be more productive in your habits, in the way you treat yourself, your internal voice, the way you speak to others, and the way you just make your choices. That's a big one. Self-permission is about choices, internal and also external, as we talked about here with productivity and momentum. So the last reason why self-permission is so important in making change and getting your internal power is because expressing yourself becomes easy. There are so many empathic people that I see that literally have so many problems expressing themselves. Like, if someone steps on their toe, they will feel bad for saying something to the person, which logically makes no sense, but it's like internally they're in a state where they have to be under someone. That happens a lot with empathic people, or just highly sensitive people, is just, or people that have just been pressed into hard situations very young. Like my friend, her mom had a lot of issues growing up and she had to basically raise her two sisters. Things like that are definitely things that get you in that mindset of self-restriction, or you have to be under someone, which is the negative polarity of self-permission. So the self-permission will help you to express yourself easier, and you won't require so much effort. That's also something that's really important in friendships. I mean, there are so many people who like someone else, whether it's romantically or platonically, and they want to have a relationship with them, but they don't know how to say anything to them. They don't know how to be emotionally intimate. Yeah, and speaking of which, there are also those people who don't understand intimacy. And the only way you can understand intimacy is if you have an idea of self, which self permission is a part of. So, last, we're going to do an exercise for how to engage the power of self permission within yourself. So, just background, I'm really into sacred geometry, and with my guides, as well as several energy healing modalities, sacred geometrical trainings, mystery schools, I have seen that certain geometries can help you psychologically and energetically to do certain things and make certain advancements and activations. So this one is where you imagine a golden tetrahedron. If you're not familiar with a tetrahedron, it's like a three-dimensional triangle. It's like, well, I'm sorry, a four-dimensional triangle technically. It's just a golden tetrahedron. And imagine it where your sacral chakra is. For women, that will be right on top of your ovaries. For men, it'll just be the lower abdomen area above like the genitalia and testes. And relax and just imagine the golden tetrahedron in that area. Imagine it rotating clockwise, because the body and the energetic field of the body likes the clockwise motion, with regards to opening things up. So imagine this tetrahedron going clockwise for around 2 to 3 minutes. You can do 5 minutes if you're used to meditating, but 2 to 3 minutes is good to start off. And then after that, you want to put your hands on your lower abdomen and breathe into your sacral chakra. And when you breathe into that area, imagine all the energy of your body going into your sacral chakra. Now, Eastern philosophy refers to this as a sacral chakra, but Chinese medicine refers to this as the chi point. Some of them call it the Tao point, but that's a different one. But for Qigong and Chi power training, it is the chi point. And so you imagine the energy going into the area where your sacral chakra is, but when you breathe out, imagine the energy going out from it at the same time. This in and out motion will help unlock a lot of the blockages that you have in your energetic field, so that your self permissions can change. Like I said, that means that you're allowing yourself to morph into more of who you are, giving yourself permission to disassociate from other people's energies and personalities, making a life that you want, taking off all of the obligations, because there's a such thing as a responsibility and there's a such thing as obligation. And that's another video and we can talk about that. But yeah, so that visualization is really good. I would say do it when you wake up and when you go to sleep for about 7 days. And then after that, I would say start expanding that golden tetrahedron up through your upper body as you get more and more into it. It's your choice as to whether you go that far, but I know that doing that exercise, that visualization for a week will definitely help. So thank you so much. If this resonated with you, go ahead and comment below or contact me in my email, and just tell me how much you've limited yourself in your life. If it's kind of intimate, you can completely just tell me on your own, or if you want to just think about it internally. Besides the visualization exercise, just think about all the ways that you've limited who you can be, because that's really important to starting the healing process and making lasting change. So that is everything, you guys. I just wanted to share with you the power of self-permission for getting your identity, getting your internal power, and making lasting change. Also, if this resonated with you, I do have life path readings and healing sessions in which we go in depth into your particular situation. And I also have a long-term spiritual coaching program to help you kind of reframe everything that's going on with you if you feel like you need personalized help long-term. So, no pressure or anything, but thank you so much for your time, and namaste. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Bye.